Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining in. We're going to talk a little bit about sports today. I am a sports fanatic, but I prefer to play sports as opposed to watch or listen unless the commentary is really, really good. And I found with hockey and UFC, those seem to be the best commentary for me to follow, and it's the most exciting. I had someone ask me if you could play any sport that could be adapted, like anything, what would it be? And I thought, it would be great to be in a UFC ring. My husband said, you realize that they hit back. And I thought, I might have to rethink this. I'm like, I would like to do that if I was the only one doing the hitting. I don't really think I want to be on the receiving end of a punch. But I hope you've had a chance to try some different activities, and I would love to know what your favorite sports are. But we're going to go into some exercises that remind me of sports. So we're going to warm up the body, kind of get that blood flowing. We're going to move into some exercises which you can do seated or standing. I'll give some modifications that will be if you prefer them, if you enjoy them more. I don't do things I don't like. And then we're going to cool down, but that's not all. We've got an interview portion at the end, so I'm really excited for that as well. So we are going to get moving. I think the first sport I'm going to focus on, I'm going to split it up. You can focus on boxing, which I do highly enjoy to do, and on soccer as well. That one, I need to get a ball with some bells in order to play that effectively, but we're going to do something that reminds me of a drill. So the seated variation, if you just want to work the upper body, will be punching. And so you're going to keep your shoulders down, your back, your elbows are bent, and imagine there's someone you want to punch them right in the nose. I know that doesn't sound very nice, but sometimes it's a bit of a stress relief. So you're going to make some fists and bring your fists up closer to your face, kind of at nose level, and imagine punching and extending your arm forward right towards someone's nose and just pop right in the nose and alternate hands. For the soccer variation, one of the drills that we did a long time ago when I used to play was kind of like a heel dig. We'd tap our heel onto the ball. So I'm standing and my arms are at my sides, my hands are on my hips, wherever you want your hands to be. But you're going to tap your heel in front of you and your toes are pointing to the sky. So it's kind of just digging that heel in, bringing your foot back to that standing position, and then the other side. And it can be done quite quick. We would do this with the heel on the soccer ball. So we're going to go ahead and pick your poison for your warm-up or your favorite sport. And we're going to get that blood going. I'm going to go with those heel digs. Okay, so here we go. And it's just tap, 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 tap with those heels, tap, tap, or punch. 3, 2, 1. Good job. So you can go ahead if you really had fun with that and do it again. Otherwise, we're going to do some skiing. I really like cross-country skiing because I am a chicken when it comes to heights, and downhill skiing, it kind of affects my equilibrium too. But we're going to ski because we can. So whether you want to ski from your chair or ski from standing, it's going to be a mostly upper body movement. And imagine just propelling yourself down this hill and you are racing towards the finish. So seated, it's going to be arms only. And I'm going to have my hands at my sides. My palms are facing towards the outside of my legs. And I'm going to swing my arms up above my head, up towards, so your fingertips are pointing the sky, and swing them back down, just like you're racing. So it's quite a quick movement. Now, if I'm going to do the standing, I'm going to have a slight bend in the knees, and I'm going to kind of move up and down. So as my arms raise, I'm straightening my legs a bit, and then as my arms swing down, I'm bending at the knees. It's like just a big push down that mountain. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, arms or both. Inhale those arms up and ski. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Excellent. And once again, you can do this as many times as you like. We're going to move on to basketball. That is a sport for me that I have not really played so much because I have a tendency to take the ball to the face. But it's something I know my husband's really enjoyed and lots of people love. I have lots of friends that play. So we're going to do a little bit of a basketball motion, and it's something that you're going to see later on when we work on, I'm going to use the scary word, burpees. It's kind of like the upper part of a burpee. All right, so you're standing or sitting and you're imagining you're holding onto a basketball. So my hands are on either side of the basketball, my palms are facing each other, and you can kind of slightly cup your hands like you're holding that basketball. And I want you to think of bringing it into your belly so your elbows are bent, then up to your chest, and then you're gonna go ahead and shoot it into the net. So you can just bring your arms up, or you can go ahead and, I'm standing, so I'm just gonna bend my knees and pretend to take a shot. Now I've caught that ball again with my arms in my air, bring it back, my hands back down towards my chest, and then back down to my lap or my belly. So chest, shoot, chest, lap or belly, chest, shoot, chest, lap or belly, chest, and give it a good shot, chest, and whew, there you go. So we've got a little bit of basketball motion in there as well. So hopefully you're warmed up, and what I'd like you to do is, if you have some water, make sure you grab some water and clear your space, because we're going to move into those exercises.
Get ready to exercise. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen. We'll be right back. Let's exercise. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen is back.
Well, I hope you're ready to exercise, because I sure am. The first two exercises that we're going to do can be done seated or standing. I am going to sit for these, and we're going to focus on muscles that, so the rotator cuff, it's easily injured, especially for someone that's playing baseball or anything that involves throwing, or for a cane user or a wheelchair user where you're really using those shoulders. But as far as sports go, I think that's one of the biggest ones when it comes to baseball players. But I train my rotator cuff to protect my shoulders when it comes to using my dog and my white cane. So we're going to start off with that rotator cuff, either seated or standing. I want you to think of sitting nice and tall or standing nice and tall, like your spine is a stack of Legos or blocks. If one is out of whack or out of place, that tower kind of leans. So sit as nice and tall as you can. Think of your abs being tight. So if I were to poke you in the belly, it's that kind of firmness where you kind of bring it in. You're not sucking it in, but you're just firming up those belly muscles. We're going to start off with your hands. Just hang them down at your sides. Your palms are facing the outside of your legs. Now I'm going to bend my elbows to 90 degrees. So my palms are facing each other. Okay, so this is kind of like if you're going to shake someone's hand, but your elbows are close to your body. Now keeping your arms in this position, we're going to raise the elbows out to the side up to shoulder height. So to me, this might sound strange, but it seems like this is how my bedroom window opens. It opens outward and up. So keeping your arms as they are, bring your elbows up to shoulder height. And as this happens, your palms are going to face the floor. So now your elbows are up at the shoulder height, and you're like the bottom half of a square with your arms. And then I'm going to bring them back down so that my elbows are in towards my sides again, keeping that 90-degree angle. Now, if you're going to use dumbbells for this at all, they should be very, very light, especially to start. I will actually usually use an exercise band or a 1 or 2 pound dumbbell, because my shoulders they've taken quite a beating. So very, very light to start with the shoulders. So we're going to go ahead and work those shoulders. This can also be done one side at a time. Okay, so we're going to bring your elbows up to that shoulder height and back down so that your elbows are close at your ribs, and then your palms become facing each other again. Elbows up to shoulder height, palms are facing the floor, back down and up and back down. You might start to feel this in the back. And up and back down. We got 4 more, and up. So speaking of baseball, and back down, I was watching beep ball the other day, or listening to it, and up and back down. Now this is a sport I have not tried. And up and back down. So the baseball will beep for people that have vision loss. And up and back down, and 1 more, and up and back down. So you can kind of stay in this position, or you can shake it out. I'm going to shake it out. So I'm not sure how I feel. I have a little bit of a fear of a ball being thrown at my face. Just if anybody's ever played dodgeball, it instills a real fear in you. So this was really fascinating to me to learn about beep ball. So this would be great for those beep ball players out there. So sitting up again, My arms are at my sides, palms facing the outside of my thighs. I'm going to bend my arms to 90, just like I'm going to shake someone's kind of hand. Elbows are tucked into the side. I'm going to bring those elbows up to shoulder height, palms face the ground, and back down. So this is where I imagine that window swinging open. And back down. Do not go higher than shoulder height. And back up. If you don't make it to shoulder height, that is okay. And back down. So the shoulder I have that I've injured is my left one, and I can always feel it early in this movement. And back down. So this can be used as a stretch with no weights. And up, or mobility. And back down. And let's go for 4 more. Up. And back down. And up. And back down. That gives us 2 left. And up. And back down. And 1 more. And up. And back down. So I'm utilizing the muscles in my back as well. Also, it's really common if you have an area that's been injured before or that is weaker for different muscles to take over, but often the abdominals, your belly muscles, like to just let go because you're concentrating on these weaker muscles. Use those to support you whether you're sitting or standing, because that's going to protect the spine and it's going to make that movement a little easier because your core, it's a big part of everything we do. Jumping, throwing, wheeling, walking, running, skipping, whatever the motion is, basketball. So setting up again, I'm going to bring those elbows to, I'm bending at the elbows, my palms are facing each other, it's at a 90 degree, elbows up to shoulder height and back down, and up, and back down. This is probably really great for the swimmers out there as well. Elbows up, and back down, and up, and back down, up, and back down. And this is halfway, up, and back down. So we have 4 more. 3 sets of 8 is what we're going for. Up, and back down, up, and back down. 2 more. Bringing those elbows up. How's your form? And back down. Keep that core tight. Up, and back down. Let's just go for 1 more. I feel like shaking it out. And back down. So I'm just going to shake on my shoulders. You can give them a couple shrugs, a couple rolls. So you want to aim for that 3 sets of 8. If it's too much on that shoulder joint, you're just going to drop the number of reps down. You want it to be doable. So now that's for our throwers, our swimmers, our archers, our hockey players. Let's move on to the legs for our jumpers. I'm going to give you an upper body only option as well. And these can both be done seated or standing, so you get to choose. I like having some choices when I exercise, and when I work with other people too, I'll often give them some choices, especially when they're kind of getting into exercise, because it's nice to really do things that you like doing. So if you're seated, I want you to think of, we're going to do a calf raise, so you can do the seated calf raise. If you want to do the upper body, you're going to hang your arms at your sides. Sitting nice and tall, you're going to raise your arms straight out in front of you. Turn your palms so they're facing down. Now my shoulders are about, my arms are about shoulder height. Now I'm going to raise up my right arm towards the sky, my fingertips pointing to the sky, and I'm going to bring it back down to that starting position where my arms are straight out of my shoulders, and I'm simply going to switch arms. So you can go ahead one at a time, or you can raise both at a time. Now if you want to focus on the calves, seated or standing. If you're seated and your balance is off, I don't have the greatest balance, you can have a chair at your side where you can just put your fingertips on. I'm seated on a stool or a chair, and I'm just going to place my hands on my lap, and I'm going to raise my heels up off the floor. So I'm going onto the balls of my feet, and I'm going to hold here for a second and lower down. Now if this really cramps up on you, make sure your water intake is adequate. Rising up and lowering down, or utilizing that arm version, and up and lower down. This time my heels are not going to quite touch the floor. And up and down. Now I love rise up and lower down. I have I have some stiletto heels that I really like, and these muscles really get worked. So this is a good one for me as well. Rising up and lowering down and up and down. Let's go for 4 more. And up and down, up and down. And we've got 2 more. Up and down. And last one, up and down. So when you raise them up, the lower is also controlled. So it's a controlled up. You're feeling it in the backs of the legs, so in your calf muscles, and bringing it back down. So these are my high heel muscles. These can be your jumping muscles, whatever it is, but the lower part of that body, or those arms where you're working the shoulders and the back, and guess what? The core. Let's go for set 2, either those arm raises or those calf raises. So I'm rising up onto the ball of the foot. So lifting the heels, lowering the heels. My toes are still on the ground. My heels are not quite touching the ground now. I'm rising up onto the ball of the foot. So anybody who's a dancer knows what I'm talking about there. And lower down. So you do a lot of work on the ball of the foot. Rising up and lowering down. Up and down, up and down, and we have 4 more. And for my expressive chair dancers, that is going to be and rising it up and lowering down. These arm exercises are going to help with that mobility. And up and lower down, and we have 3 more here. Rising up and lowering down. Rising up and lowering down, and rising up and lowering down. So a lot of these exercises will help prevent injury as well as conditioning the body, and it's good for our mental health too, just to keep moving. So you can go ahead, if you're working that upper body, you can shake it out. If you're working those calves, you can kind of shake out the legs. I'm just gonna kind of almost like I'm running in my chair just with my heels. My toes are still on the ground. Just shake out those muscles, because we're going to do another set, whether it's arms or legs. Let's get ready to work. All right, so I'm going to rise up onto those toes. I'm doing calf raises and lowering back down, rising up and lowering down with control, rising up. So it's a slow on the down too. It's work. And up and lower down. And lower down. We're hitting the halfway point of the set. Up and lower down. I actually find that lowering down harder. And rising it up and lowering down, rising up and lowering down, and 2 more, rising up and lowering down. Give me 1 more here, arms or legs, up and lower down. Great work. This is a great time to grab a drink, and we're going to continue on with the exercises in a moment.
Keep moving. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen will be right back. Back to the exercises on Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
So now I want to focus on the core, because as I've said, the core supports the spine. It helps with sports to prevent injury, but guess what? It helps in our daily lives. Having that strong core helps our balance, which I don't have the greatest. And it just keeps us moving, whether we're bending or twisting. A strong core is really essential. I know I had an accident we were attacked by a dog, and if I didn't have the strength that I have, I think my injury would have been much worse. So this is something I always go to is working the core. Now we're going to give you a seated option, and I'm sitting down on the floor, so you can sit on the floor with me, or I'm going to give you a nice seated option you can do from a chair. So if you're sitting in a chair, we're going to revert back to the sport of basketball. We're going to do some chest passes. So you're going to imagine you're holding a basketball, your hands on either side of that basketball, so your palms are facing each other. You can kind of round those hands a little bit, so imagine they're cupping each side of the ball. Now I want you to imagine bringing that basketball, you're going to bend your elbows and bring that basketball into your chest, and you are going to throw it at the person. There's a person across from you. You want to throw it right towards their chest so they can catch it. So you're going to throw it, use your core. So think of using those abdominal muscles to support you as you throw that ball, and they're going to throw it back. You're going to catch it, use that core, and bring that ball back into the chest, because that's what's going to protect that back. It's not your back that should be moving. So there's an upper body variation. I'm going to do what's called a roll back. I'm sitting on the floor on my butt. My knees are bent. My feet are flat on the floor. Now, for me, for more stability in this exercise, I just kind of move the flesh of my butt, so my butt bones I want on the mat. So I just want to move my butt cheeks back a little bit so that those bones are touching the mat. Because when you're doing a roll back, I don't want you rolling back and going into a full-on back somersault. We're not going to focus on gymnastics as a sport today. So I want you to keep that in mind too as you roll back. I don't want you to go back too far. So I'm going to have my hands, I'm going to bring my palms together and they're at my chest. My elbows are bent, or I'm going to clasp my hands. They're just kind of at chest height, or you can have your fingertips on the floor if you feel a little bit less balanced. So those of you that are ready to do a chest press, you can get ready, or a chest pass, you can get ready to do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to round my back slightly. So I'm going to drop my chin to my chest just a little bit and think of making a curve with the spine, and I'm going to lean back just slightly till my belly feels this motion. So my abdominal muscles, oh yeah, those are working. Okay, and now I'm going to bring myself up, sitting nice and tall. So we're going to go ahead for 8 of those. Those of you doing the chest passes, go ahead and begin. So I'm going to roll back, squeeze those abdominals, shoulders are down your back and up. And if you can't get 8, that's okay. This is just a number we can work towards. And roll back or chest pass and up. Now you don't want to feel these roll back in your hip flexors. So that crease of your hip, you want to feel these in your belly. And back up. So if you're feeling it in that crease, think of engaging the abdominal more, and back and back up. So the movement isn't actually that big. I'm not leaning back that far. So I'm kind of rounding my back and coming back a little bit. And back up, and back, and back up. So it does not have to be a big movement. And those chest passes, how are those going? Back and back up. Let's go for 2 more. So nice and tall when you sit back up, then round the spine a little bit, roll back slightly, and back up. Nice and tall. Last one. Back and back up. So if we wanted to mix things up a little bit, stay where you're at, or you can take that chest pass and bring it into this exercise. So you've got both. I love options. I never like being bored. So this is something else you can do as a combination exercise. So go back either into your chest pass or your rollbacks, and I'll show you what that looks like once we get to our last set. So this is set number 2. We're gonna round that back and come back, or chest pass, and bring it back up. Nice and tall. And rolling it back. This is your belly doing the work. Woo. And back up. And rolling it back. And back up. I wonder if anybody's shaking. I'm starting to shake a little bit. My belly muscles are shaking. Roll back. This is halfway through the set. And back up. Now, if your calf muscles are a little bit tight too, if your toes aren't flat on the floor, that's okay. My toes are just raised slightly, but my feet are flat. Roll back and back up. This means I can wiggle my toes if I wanted to. Roll back and back up. You might hear me start to shake soon. Roll back and back up. Roll back and back up. We got one more. So to make it harder too, you can just take your hands off the mat and you can raise them above you. Woo! Back up. Okay, that's just a little bit of fun. So we'll do the third set, and I'm going to show you how to combine those two as I said. So if things are shaking too much and you're feeling it in your low back or your low hips, you can take this chance to stretch out or drop the number of repetitions in your chest pass or your rollbacks. So where I would combine it, so I'm sitting up nice and tall again. I'm setting up for that rollback or that chest pass. Okay. I'm going to arch the back, so make a little bit of a C, roll back. Imagine you're holding a ball at your chest, my elbows are bent, and as I come up and straighten the spine, I'm going to imagine throwing that ball to somebody's chest, and then I'm going to imagine catching it, bring that ball to my chest, roll back, and come back up, throw the ball, catch the ball, so my arms are straight when I go to catch, bending them, bringing it into the chest, roll back, and back up, and throw, and catch, bring it to the chest, roll back, and back up, and throw, and catch, and back up, and throw, and catch. This is a little trickier on the balance and on the core. Roll it back, and back up, nice and tall, and throw, catch, bring it back in, and back up. We've got 2 more here. Throw, and catch, and roll it back, and back up, and throw, and catch, roll it back, and back up, and throw, and let's call it a day for that exercise. So this reminds me as I'm starting to sweat a little bit. Sweat is good, but somebody told me the harder you sweat, that means the better your workout. Not necessarily. We all are different. I think of everybody, even in my own household, some of us are sweatier than others, and the type of workout, when I'm lifting heavy, I don't necessarily sweat so much, but sometimes it burns more calories and does more things than a run where I'm really sweaty. It just depends on the person, the type of workout, because we're all different. I'm going to come down onto my back. I'm going to give you a seated option as well. For this one, this is a dead bug. Now, if you would like to do this seated, you can do it without weights, or you can have a dumbbell where you've got one hand on each end of the round end of the dumbbell. I wouldn't go super heavy. You can also hold a ball and do this. So what I'm going to do is take my arms straight out in front of me. They're at shoulder height, and I'm holding that ball or that dumbbell. Now I'm going to tighten my core because I don't want my ribs to like stick out or jut out and arch the back. I want to raise that ball up above my head with control. And now I'm bringing it back to that shoulder height. Okay, so that is one way you can work the abs. You can also do the upper part of this dead bug. So I'm not a big fan of bugs. It's just, I'm a big chicken, and you'd wonder why because I can't even see them. But I'm a little squeamish. So I'm going to start with the upper part of that dead bug. I'm laying on my mat. My feet are flat. My knees are bent. Now I'm going to imagine there's a pretty big space between my back and the mat. I'm going to relax my back into that mat. Tighten the core. So if I were to come and drop a basketball on your belly, that reflex of tight, you want to just tighten it a bit, and you want to still be able to breathe. It's just protecting the spine and initiating the abdominals. Now I'm going to raise my arms straight up over my head. My palms are facing each other. So very much like in that position we were holding the ball or the dumbbell for that overhead raise. So those palms are facing each other. Now I'm going to raise my right arm back behind me, above my head. Only as far as is comfortable. It might not reach all the way back. That's okay. And bring it back up. And I'm simply going to switch arms. As I'm doing this, you're using your core to keep that rib cage in check and protect the back, and back to center. And so you're just alternating arms. So you can also do that seated. I'm going to add the legs. So I'm going to take my legs off the floor. My knees are bent. So my legs are at a 90-degree angle. And my feet, I'd say, are kind of like gently pointed. It's really important to engage the abs here. If this is too much on the low back, you're just going to do arms. So I'm going to reach my right arm behind me above my head, and I'm going to extend my left leg straight out. It's not quite touching the mat. I'm going to bring it back. So it's opposite arm to opposite leg. Mine's my right arm, my left leg, back to center. And then I'm going to switch. Left arm, right leg, gently pointing those toes. Think of becoming super long on one side. And bring it back up. And switch. And back up. And switch. Use those belly muscles. Using it to extend and using it to bring it back up. Switch. And back up. We're going to go for one more each side. Switch, become long on the, mine's on my left arm right now and my right leg, and back up as long as it's opposite. It doesn't matter which one. And switch. And back up. So you can go ahead and take a break here. You will know if you mess this up if you're doing the same arm, same leg, because it feels really, really weird. So you can step back up for that raise. Otherwise, come into your upper arm portion of your dead bug, or take your legs to 90 degrees, raise your arms straight up towards the ceiling. My fingertips are pointing to the sky. My palms are facing each other. Opposite arm, opposite leg. My right arm is coming straight back behind me as my left leg is stretching long and straightening out, coming back in, and switch. And back to center, and switch, and back to center. So I want you to keep going. Finish doing your dead bugs. We're gonna go for about 3 more to each side, and then grab a drink, and we're gonna cool down in a few moments.
Keep moving. Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen will be right back. Welcome back to Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
So now that we've finished those raises or those dead bugs, I'm still hanging out here on the floor. So our cool down can be done seated, or it can be done lying down if you're lying down on your mat like me. Sports can be done all times of year, and often that means different sports for different seasons. And I'm not a huge fan of winter, but winter for me means hockey. And it also means playing in the snow with my grandson. So I like to be active in the winter as well. I just don't love the cold weather. So one of the stretches we're gonna do resembles a snow angel. So have you ever had a chance to make one of those? Great. If not, I'm gonna talk you through it. So either lying down or seated in your chair, your arms are down at your sides. Your palms are facing the outside of your legs, or it's the outside of my hips right now. And I'm going to sweep my arms to the side and all the way up above my head. So my fingertips are pointing either the sky if you're seated, or behind you if you're lying down. And it's the back of my hands that are kind of sweeping along the mat, and it comes so that my fingertips touch, or if they don't touch due to shoulder mobility, that's fine. So think of it as making big wings at your sides. So I'm going to sweep them down and back towards the sides of my body, and open it up, bring it all the way above your head if you can. If not, you can shorten this movement, and that's okay. And sweep it back down. This feels fantastic in the shoulders. And sweeping it back up all the way above your head. You can reach through those fingertips. That feels great. And lower it back down. And we're gonna go for one more, and then I'm gonna teach you how to combine it. Take a big stretch and lower it back down. So you can stick with that, or if you would like to add your legs, as I'm lying down, I'm extending my legs straight out. So I'm completely flat on my mat. As my arms sweep up above my head, my legs are going to kind of open in a V. So it's making the bottom half of that snow angel. So as I sweep my arms up, my legs open to the V, reaching those fingertips all the way up to the sky or the wall behind you. Now I'm going to close everything. So everything opens, everything closes. So everything opens, or just that upper body, and everything closes. These were much easier when I was a kid. Everything opens and everything closes. Nice work. So I'm gonna hug my knees into my chest. You can do that seated and hug one knee into your chest at a time, or if you wish, you can hug your upper body. So you're just gonna give yourself a hug while you're sitting or laying down if you choose to do that. So just imagine crossing your arms in front of you and just giving yourself a hug. And you can enjoy that. But I'm gonna take one knee into my chest, so I'm lying down, and I'm gonna either grab behind the thigh or onto my shin, and I'm lifting that foot up off the ground, and I'm gonna bring that knee in towards my chest. If that means the other foot has to come up off the ground, that's fine. And I'm gonna set that foot down, so that my knees are in that bend position, feet flat on the floor. Now I'm gonna switch legs. You're gonna notice if you have one side tighter than the other. And if you're doing that hug, I want you to switch the cross of your arms. If your body just doesn't want to do that, because sometimes it can be confusing to switch directions, that's fine too. And release. I'm going to do one more, but this time you can hug both knees in or switch the direction of that hug. I'm bringing both knees into my chest. You can wiggle your toes here. You can kind of rock from side to side. There's a few different things that you can do to stay in that stretch and just enjoy it a little longer. But don't go anywhere because I'd like you to stay moving, stay motivated, but most importantly, stay with us for the interview portion.
Coming up next on Healthy at Home, Bobbi puts on her boxing gloves. We're back with health and wellness tips on Healthy at Home with Bobbi Janzen.
If you remembered what I said earlier in the episode about wanting to fight in the UFC, but not really get hit back, this is quite fitting. I'm here with Joanne Horsley, and we are in a martial arts gym. Like, the floor under my feet is squishy, it's nice and open, and there is even a boxing ring behind us. Joanne, tell me a little bit about what you do.
I teach karate, jiu-jitsu, and Muay Thai, kickboxing, along with some weightlifting. So Jill of all trades.
I love it. And I've had the honor of doing some work with you in the past and had so much fun. Yay. Tell me a little bit about what got you into this.
That's a great question. Well, I got into kickboxing first because I wanted to do something that wasn't societally's understanding of what women did.
Love it.
And I really, really loved it. And then when I met my spouse, we got into karate, and then we evolved into jiu-jitsu, and now I'm also into weight training. So it's been an evolution over the last 15 years for sure.
Kicking butt and taking names.
There you go.
What is your go-to activity? What is your absolute favorite?
It's got to be jiu-jitsu these days. Okay. As my body ages, it's just easier on the body. And it's a lot of fun. I never grew up wrestling with my siblings or friends, so it's like learning to play.
You've got my wheels turning now. You know this, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm going to have to get you back for that one for sure.
I think that could be fun.
I agree.
So it has a huge impact on physical health and well-being.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about that connection between physical and mental and stuff like kickboxing or jiu-jitsu.
So I've found that over the years, when people feel like they have power and control in the gym here, that takes them out onto the street. So when they're walking down the street, they stand a little taller, they feel stronger, more confidence, and that just comes through in how people walk and interact with the world. And in that, it's also self-defense.
I think that's what actually drew me to seek you out and try it in the first place. I felt like I'd lost some of my power, some of my control, and this was a really great way for me to reclaim that. Whether I could really inflict any...
Oh, I've felt your punches. You could definitely do some damage.
But it sure made me feel good, and I know that I felt lighter after, like nice. Mentally lighter.
Absolutely, yeah.
So can this be, you've managed to adapt it for low vision for me, and then some days when I have zero vision, but could it be adapted for different types of abilities?
Yeah, absolutely. So in fact, this summer I had the opportunity to work with the CNIB. They brought in some kids for their kids camp for the summer. And we got to play, and we did some kickboxing. And one of the friends that came with the group was a wheelchair user. And so everybody got to participate at varying degrees of sight as well as varying degrees of physical ability. And we were able to modify things for each individual. So it was pretty great.
And you mentioned as we get older. Now, I am getting older, now that I'm a grandma, things are, they creak a little more. So is this a good type of activity to do as we age as well?
Absolutely. Anything that gets your body moving, gets your heart pumping is good. Anything that makes you feel good is good. But yeah, punching and kicking has its own little sweet spot.
Okay. Well, you've got a few things to show me, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's go. Have you put on your gloves?
I've got some gloves in my hand. I'm going to slip them on.
There you go. And I'm going to slip on the targets onto my hands. So the targets that I'm holding are black with a little white dot in the middle. So hopefully that contrast is helpful for you. Okay. We're going to start out with our fight stance. So you're going to bring your feet together. And then your foot, that's your dominant side.
So my right foot.
Your right foot, okay. So we're gonna keep your heel where it is, and we're gonna turn your toes out to 90 degrees. So you're gonna toe out.
Duck foot.
And then we're gonna keep our toes where we are, and we're gonna heel out. So we're gonna tip that heel out the way, yep.
So like a windshield wiper.
There you go, excellent. So keeping our heel where it is, now we're gonna tip those toes out to that 90 degrees again. Yep.
Okay.
And then one more time, we're gonna keep our toes where they are, we're gonna heel out.
So one more windshield wiper.
One more
with the
with,
heel.
yeah.
Okay.
And then now 45 degrees with your foot. Perfect.
Oh,
just like
that feels a bit better.
There you go. Okay. And then we're going to bend your knees a little bit. Yeah. And we're going to bring your hands up so that you're in front of your face.
my nose.
Yeah. Protect that nose.
Okay.
Yeah. That's perfect. So you're going to use your right hand, and you're going to punch a little bit to your left, and you're going to put your knuckles right on the target with a straight arm. So that one's called your jab. So I'm going to put the target up here, and you're going to punch.
I'm just punching.
You're just punching.
Okay.
I'll move the target to you if I need to. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Good?
There we go. Good. Okay. Excellent. So we're going to use, nice work. So we're going to use your other hand. We're going to use your left hand.
Sneaky.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to use your left hand. We're going to sneak it over to that same target.
Come across my body a bit. Okay.
There you go. Ooh, nice work.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that one's your jab. Okay. Excellent. And then we're going to use that right hand again. I'm going to put up my opposite target. So you're going to punch to the opposite side there. Again, straight forward. And this one's called cross.
So I'm going to come across about nose height, would you say?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. You're punching towards someone. Yeah, just like that. I love that noise. That's fantastic.
It's a great noise.
Okay. So we're going to go left, right, left, right.
Oh,
Okay?
goodness.
So you're going to go straight left.
Left.
Yeah. And then right. Just like that. Again. Just like that. Beautiful. One more. Each side. Excellent. So those are your straight punches.
Okay, so it's like I'm coming across your shoulder. I feel like I'm coming across your body towards like nose level, but past, if that makes sense.
Yes, nose level, yeah, and then like towards someone's shoulders. That would be great. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to do a hook. So with your lead hand, your left hand, yep, you're going to bring your elbow up to shoulder height.
Okay,
just like that.
Like a bird wing. Okay.
Just like that, yeah. And then I'm going to put the target in front of your nose, that general area, and you're going to swing your arm around like you're trying to hook me or punch me on the side of my cheek.
Well, you really don't want that.
No, I don't. I want you to hit the target. And that was excellent. Yeah.
That feels different.
There you go.
Much different.
Beautiful.
There we go.
That was a good one. Nice.
Oops.
One more. Good. Okay, same thing, other side. We're going to bring that left arm, sorry, right arm, elbow up.
Bird wing.
Yep.
Okay.
And then.
I forgot to protect my face. Oh dear. Okay.
There you go. All right, now we're going to hook around just like that. Yes. Good turning of your body, bringing that elbow
there we
forward. Go. Nice. Okay, so those are your hooks.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to do uppercuts. So these ones come.
These are my favorite.
Right? They come underneath the chin and they would flip the head backwards. Okay. So with your left hand, I'm going to put the target out in the center, and you're going to come up and underneath. Nice. Good. Okay, same thing.
Okay, well that felt like amazing. So I would do the same thing with my other hand, right? To stay balanced, or it can be done one-sided.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Depending on what you need. Yep.
That felt like I feel so good. I'm going to use this in my office.
Nice, yes.
You said it could be done seated, so I might do this in my office.
There you go. Getting rid of some stress. Just punch and kick. Yeah, punch in the air. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that is super fun. I think I'm going to be practicing these. This has been an amazing, amazing season, and I'm so glad I got to end it with something I absolutely love. So thank you for joining me today, Joanne, and I hope you all enjoyed it, as this season was just tons of fun. And don't mind me, I think I'm going to go hop in the ring for a little bit. So we'll see you again.
Produced by Honeycut Studios. Host Bobbi Janzen. Accessibility consultant Sierra Roth. Special thanks to Momentum Martial Arts. Integrated Described Video consultant Ron Rickford. Content development specialist Jim Crisco. Supervising producer Jennifer Johnson. Director Programming Lisanne Gagnier. Director Content Development and Production Kara Nye. Vice President Content Development and Operations John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2024 Accessible Media Inc.
An AMI original production.